Hey, everybody. A little over 24 hours away, we will be talking or we will be watching 49ers v Eagles. But before that happens, I figure me and Bash close out the weekend with a little bit of a 49ers Eagles preview. It's the game of the year really for the 49ers. Niners need to redeem themselves really big time for what happened in the NFC Championship game, and also this helps the Niners towards the number one seed if they're able to beat them in Philadelphia. It's a big game with a lot of there's a lot of things that come out of it if the Niners are able to get a victory. And I figured why not close out the week and talk to Bash about it. We've both had our time on YouTube this week talking about it, but we didn't have it with each other. I was sick with COVID. I'm back. Bash, how you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm glad you're feeling better. Glad to see a lot of people in the chat, see some familiar faces, and appreciate you guys. And yeah, doing good. I just want to shout out to Corey Davis really quick. I know I mentioned it on other channels, but I'm going to keep mentioning it because we need to mention it. He's been struggling in the hospital and needs everybody's prayers. He's a huge 49er fan, diehard 49er fan, fellow content creator, fellow big-time supporter of the 49er YouTube community. So if you want to take a 49-second pause, just a moment of silence for Corey Davis. He needs all your help. He needs all your prayers, and we need him home and healthy. Just want to say shout out to Corey. Hopefully win the Eagles game for Corey. So
yeah, definitely. It's we literally I forgot where I heard about it. I got a message from Brian Culp and a couple other people were letting me know what was going on. So yeah, football kind of goes by the wayside when it comes to somebody's personal health and life that hangs in the balance. So yeah, if they can get that victory tomorrow in Philly, that would be awesome.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm really excited about the game. And this is the one game that kind of has me a little nervous. I was kind of nervous about the Seahawks game too, just for the history against the Seahawks and playing in Seattle and Thanksgiving and all that. But yeah, this game definitely has me feeling kind of weird too.
This is definitely a big game for the 49ers because the Niners did a lot of talking after the game last year. Whether they were right or wrong doesn't matter. They did a lot of talking, and the Eagles really have kept quiet. And guys were talking to that. If the game if we would have had Brock Purdy and everything, it might not have been close. We might have whooped them. We might have, whatever. Fact of the matter is, we didn't win, and they didn't win the Super Bowl, like Nick Bosa said. So both teams shouldn't be looking back at that conference championship game with other than kind of disappointment that neither team was able to seal the deal, so to speak. So, there's going to be a lot of talk, Bash. We know, me and where if Brock Purdy has a questionable game, here it comes, right? They're waiting. They're all waiting, Bash. Am I right or am I wrong? Are those people that I love to hate Brock just like foaming at the mouth that the 49ers struggle tomorrow?
Yeah. Some of them say that they don't hate Brock, but they tend to criticize every little move he makes. It's just like, for me, it's just like sit back and enjoy what we have. We're fortunate to have the guys playing exceptional football. His numbers are up there with the top players in the league at the quarterback position. So I'm definitely content with who we have at quarterback. I'm not sure why other 49er fans aren't. It's kind of weird, but all Brock Purdy can do is be Brock Purdy, right? So far in his 49er career, he's pretty much done everything right. Sure, he lost 3 games in a row, but every quarterback, every player loses at some point in time. But I said it, after that 3-game slump, it's like, it's not about the 3-game slump. It's more so about how you recover from it. And so far, he's recovered fairly well. So I'm looking forward to see a fired up Brock Purdy against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, you want them to come out fired up, but at the same time, you don't want them to come out over, like, going totally crazy because it is one game. And yes, it could help decide the outcome of the NFC, but at the same time, there's still more games to be played. The Eagles got to play games after, and yeah, we got this is the biggest one for sure. And I think the thing with the whole Brock Purdy conversation is like I've never seen one player who has so much critiquing done to him on a game to game basis, mainly because the people that are upset that he is the quarterback are, they're still hanging around this fan base. If you show me a video off of here from idiotic fans who are like, yeah, we want Harbaugh back. Brock Purdy's not the guy. And they continue to cry about Trey Lance and how he was done dirty and everything. And it's just those fans don't really count, man. You know, it's just funny that like this guy has done nothing but be good and put up record-setting numbers and play some of the best football we've seen from a 49er quarterback probably in the last 20 years. And yet, anytime he throws up on himself or maybe has a bad game, all the people that have been waiting for him to fail come out of the woodwork. So, like I said, I'm more nervous for that tomorrow that he plays well, just because I know if he doesn't, it's going to come in full force. You know, they're not going to question anybody else but Brock Purdy. Uh, yeah, a lot of people want to see Brock do more with less. So essentially, what they want to do is they want him to, we got to get rid of some of our playmakers on this team. You know, jettison off. Kittle, jettison off. Other players and have them win with not much.
Just have Brock Purdy on the expansion team. Be like, okay, now see if you're good. Okay, there you go.
What you need to do is you need to take Brock Purdy and put him on. Who's the worst team in the NFL right now?
The Bears are up there.
Bears, yeah, put him on the Bears.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we'll see if he's great.
Did you hear about Did you hear about Caleb Williams, the USC quarterback? Where he said something like, I can't believe he said this. I wish he just said. He's a great talent, by the way. I'm not knocking his talent because he's an exceptional talent, excellent quarterback, and I think he will be a pretty damn good quarterback. But I question his character a little bit because he had the nerve to put it out to the media that I'm not declaring for the NFL draft unless I see until the NCAA season is over. Oh, no, sorry, until the NFL season is over and I find out who has the first pick. Then he'll declare for the draft. It's like, dude, really? But he's basically saying he doesn't want to play for the Bears, or I don't know.
Who would?
I don't know who else is in the running though.
Who would want to pay for the Bears? Real quick, I want to hit the chat up real quick. Lower Cat was in here beforehand. She said, "Hello, Aaron. Looking forward to the show. I need some cheering up today." I'm sorry that you're not having a good day, Laura. I hope we can bring some sort of emotional support to you. You were a great emotional support during the whole time with COVID, so I appreciate it. So I'll do my best to give it back. Renee Cruz is in the house. We have Jess from East Coast Red and Gold Podcast, who's always putting out work. People need to give them more recognition and get them some subs and views and likes and all that stuff. There's more than like 4 channels on YouTube, people. You can canvas the app and find a lot more than 4 top channels. There's other people that put a lot of work and time into this YouTube thing, and your support would greatly help them. So that's all I got to say about that. Charles, my gaming buddy, says, "Hey, Aaron, both of you keep up the great stream. How about Kansas City? I hate you." He knows that I hate the cheat. No, I don't really hate him, but yeah.
Oh, we lost the Super Bowl, so there's
always going to be a
little bit of bitterness. Yeah,
there's a little bit of bitterness.
Never really hated them before, though. That's for sure. I mean, they played the Raiders, so I hate the Raiders. So whenever they played the Raiders, I always rooted for them to beat the Raiders, and I still do actually because I hate the Raiders way more than I hate the Chiefs. And by the way, I mentioned the first pick of the draft. Arizona Cardinals might have a shot at the first pick of the draft, and maybe the Patriots. So I don't know. Caleb Williams is waiting to see who gets the first pick of the draft before he declares.
Hey, Bash. So the 49ers trade a bunch of picks and try to get Caleb Williams with the number 1 pick.
I know, and then because he has a high ceiling and an elite skill set.
He has a high ceiling and a big arm, and he's athletic.
And he fits the bill of a franchise quarterback, right? So
yeah, he could accomplish nothing that Brock has accomplished, but because he looks the part, that's what really matters. That is just sad, lazy. That is so sad and lazy. Just the thing with Brock that gets me is that there's so many boxes to check and I's and T's, dot and cross because of who he is and where he was drafted, and people just will not like. No, I'm not saying he's elite. You haven't said it, but like there's this mindset out there that like everybody thinks he's elite and that we should all think the same. And if you don't, then you're not a real 49er fan. No, I don't think most 49er fans would say he was elite. I think a lot of 49er fans would say he's a really good quarterback and he has a chance to do something really special with this team. And when what happens is you had an expectation as a fan, not you, but I'm just saying people had expectations as a fan who they thought their franchise quarterback was going to be. But what you got to remember, just like in life and in jobs, sometimes somebody with less credentials can come along and do a better job than somebody who is supposedly quote unquote built for the job. And that's just life. Sometimes that happens, and that's what happened with Brock. Brock is just a better player with less. People keep talking about he needs to win with less. He don't have a big arm. He doesn't have elite speed. He can't move. Uh, he's small, yet he finds a way to win. And Trey Lance is a third string inactive quarterback in Dallas. So I mean, eventually we got to let that go. But like you've shown me, there's plenty of people out there that are ignorant enough to think that we should bring back Harbaugh. There's people out there that think we should bring back Kaepernick. It never ends. It's just asinine and stupid. Go ahead.
And we do have a game on Sunday, though, right? Yeah, I think Purdy will be just fine. It wouldn't surprise me if Purdy's the QB for the next 10 years. Some people don't see it that way because he was the last pick of the draft or whatever. But I think the guy has the heart of a champion. I really do. If there's anything elite about him, it's his mindset, it's his heart, it's his competitive edge. He's a fighter. He's the guy. He's a leader. He's the guy you want taking snaps from under center at the end of the day.
CJ Gray has us losing to the Eagles 24-17.
Damn,
CJ, way to ruin the mood in the chat. Laura, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming through. Well, everyone, yes, if you could like and subscribe. Let's get the numbers up in here.
Raphael,
pretty low turnout in the stream right now. But if you're watching on Twitter or whatever, just jump over to YouTube. Have some fun.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about this 49ers defense. Last time we faced the Eagles, we didn't have Chase Young. And since Chase Young has come aboard to the 49ers, the Niners have got 15 sacks. Their secondary is playing better. I guess my question to you is, can the Niners continue this fearsome play against a really good top-level Eagles defensive or offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, this is the third time Chase Young is going to be playing the Eagles this year. Played him twice already as a commander, and now he's playing them for a third time as a 49er. So he's going to be going up against Jordan Mailata, a guy who I wanted us to draft, a huge, gigantic, physical freak. The guy's like almost 6'8". He can move, and he was from the rugby leagues in Australia. Never played organized football prior to being drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, but they took a chance on him and it panned out. And I thought we should have taken a chance on him, but we didn't. But yeah, he's pretty good. But lately he has been giving up a lot of pressures. And he's like fourth highest in the league in terms of giving up sacks at the left tackle position. He's given up 6 sacks basically this season, which is fourth highest in the league. So, the first game that Chase Young did play against Jordan Mailata, he was pretty successful against him. I believe he had a sack and a half and had some pressures. And second time around, he did not get a sack, and Jordan Mailata played him a bit better. So we'll see how this pans out now. Obviously, there's going to be Bosa and Hargrave. You got Hargrave up in the middle. We're going to be rotating Randy Gregory. Armstead's been looking pretty good lately. Clelin Ferrell isn't too bad lately. So we'll see how it plays, man. And obviously, Bosa's looking more like the real Bosa nowadays.
Yes, my worry really going into this game when it comes to the defense is just being able to contain their quarterback. The Niners have an unbelievable hard time corralling guys that can move, and Jalen Hurts is at the top of that. They did a pretty good job and I know me and you were talking about that last year and different times throughout the offseason. The Niners started that championship game with some pretty good defensive effort, not only against the pass, but against Jalen Hurts. And it was sad because eventually, the defense just got tired. They were on the field the whole game and they got ran over in the defensive line, and Bosa got dinged up and all that stuff. But like in the beginning of that game when everything was pretty much 0-0 and, you watch the secondary was playing really well. The Niners got that almost safety on Jalen Hurts. And I was just like, oh, okay, I kind of see the Niners need to essentially come out with that same energy. The thing is with this Niners team, they're so much more deeper on the defensive line if they stay healthy. I mean, you got a guy like Randy Gregory, rotational, Clelin Ferrell, now rotational. I think a lot of these guys that are rotational pieces are meant to be rotational pieces. They're not meant to be starters. I always talk about when teams bring in someone who should be a starter, that it kind of resets the depth chart to where it should be, right? You don't have Drake Jackson or somebody playing out of position who really doesn't belong as a starting defensive end. You have them coming in is a rotational piece, and what that does is it just lengthens the lineup. And I think with Chase Young coming in, that's exactly what's happened. The defensive line all of a sudden is super deep, and we have all this ability to go after the quarterback. And the secondary has played better. Yeah, Isaiah Oliver came out of the lineup, and we replaced him with Demo, and we moved Ambry Thomas outside. But John Lynch always talks about it, and Bashar, we talked about it before. It's a rush and cover game, rush before cover, and it always seems that even if you've said it before, Bash, an average secondary looks good. A good secondary looks great with a pass rush. So I think the pass rush is super important.
Well, a lot of people were kind of pouting and upset, like before the trade deadline, or actually after the trade deadline, when everything was all said and done. We didn't get a cornerback. Oh, why didn't we get this guy? Why didn't we get Patrick Surtain? And yada 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 yada. And then there was some rumor that we were supposed to get somebody. They said it was false, anyways. It was fake news. But
yeah, there was a corner that we supposedly missed out on because of
Dory Jackson, but it was never in the works to begin with, though.
No.
So yeah,
there was a guy there was a guy in the Raiders that they just talked about recently that the Niners were in on.
They were supposedly trying to get Nate Hobbs, from what I heard. Yeah, Nate Hobbs was pretty good, and he would have been a nice addition. I agree. And then some people are saying, oh, well, Marcus Peters just got released. And I don't think the 49ers were pursuing him. He's a bit of a locker room cancer. I mean, if the Raiders, with their new coach who's looking into it, if the Raiders who let people smoke cigars after a victory with their new coach who's trying to hype the team up and all, if they're releasing Marcus Peters, what does that tell you about the law? He's just not a high character guy. It's just what it is. The 49ers aren't going to bring him in. And I know some people just want us to bring in everybody available. I believe the Jets had released a safety that used to play for the Packers, I believe Adrian Amos. And I saw a lot of tweets about the 49ers should get him too. I don't know what his story is, to be honest with you. But I do remember him vaguely. But a lot of people saying, let's just get him too.
There was an Adrian. Niners were connected with a lot of safeties a couple lost seasons ago. You remember we had Kaha, Clinton Dix, Amos.
Mm-hmm.
For the last
we had
couple
years. In the preseason. Yeah, we had Haha in the preseason. He had an interception. Then we ended up cutting him.
I told people about that. Was it my dad when he was alive? Somebody I told who didn't believe me that there was a guy in the NFL named Haha Clinton Dix. They're like, no fucking way. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it really is. It's really his name.
It was funny though, because when Greg, I know you don't like Greg Papa. When Haha Clinton Dix had an interception in the preseason, he did the Woody Woodpecker of ha ha ha. I think when Haha Clinton Dix got that interception, I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm not a Greg Papa fan, people. I'm sorry.
I love it when you call me Greg Papa.
Him and that Ryan guy just make me want to throw up in my mouth every time.
I don't know why you don't like those guys.
Bring back Joe Starkey. I don't care if he's 90.
Joe Starkey, I've heard him. He can't do it no more. Then he just. He was really good at one point though.
Raphael 562 made a good point. He says the Eagles are going to attack Jair Brown in the secondary. That's my fear. What do you think about that? The Niners got away with it last week. And even the week before where they gave up like that big play when he first came into the game. You a little concerned about Jair Brown being a little bit of a liability?
I think you know what, they can try to go ahead and attack him. I haven't really seen teams try to attack him just yet, other than that play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right off the bat was like his first play of the game. I think Jair Brown's going to be ready for anything that comes his way, to be honest with you. Then, in my opinion, what they say, get to step in, or I don't know, like, be my guest. Like, go ahead if they want to attack him. He's a guy that will, he knows how to get interceptions. He knows how to play the passing lanes quite well. And even though we haven't really seen much of him this year, little we have seen it is pretty good. And they just had a lot of good things about him. Said a lot of good things about him in camp and in practice. And I just think the guy's ready then. And he's got, like we mentioned the pass rush earlier, and all this is coming together with the defense now. Fred Warner in coverage, and Fred Warner and Greenlaw are looking like their old selves, and it's going to be a lot of fun, man. And I do miss Hufanga. Somebody said Jair Huff and Huff are similar. Mm-hmm. They are a bit similar. I miss Hufanga a whole lot, but we're very, very fortunate to draft Jair Brown. And shout out to Jess, because Jess was up from East Coast Red and Gold on podcast. Where's she at? Really quick, I'll throw her up on the screen just to let everybody know. Here she is. Check out her YouTube channel. Actually, she's really, really cool. And we were on the live draft show, and she was really, really excited about the Jair Brown pick. So shout out to her.
Yeah, bring Jess's comment back up. I know we've already been talking about that. She says, "I hear you, Aaron. Too much bullshit. Either back Purdy and the team or get a lot. Yeah, what? Jess, I don't understand it either. Like, who are we cheering for? Like, why are you picking apart of the quarterback? He's played incredibly well this year. How many elite quarterbacks are actually in the National Football League, Jess or Bash? Think about that. I put that
I
comment in your
mean,
stream yesterday with Ted. How many elite quarterbacks do we have in the league? It's elite is such a unreachable like brass ring that very few quarterbacks ever reach. And to say that unless somebody is elite, like it doesn't count or their game is, we can pick holes in their game all the time and always find ways to discredit them. Why? Why? I don't understand. What it seems like a wasted exercise. Why do it? I don't understand. Like, how do we know that Trey Lance was going to be elite? Trey Lance couldn't beat out Brock Purdy. Trey Lance couldn't beat out Brock Purdy. He was traded. Like,
and he had a head start against Brock Purdy. He had a head start.
And he had a head start. Yeah. It's nice to see a stream that doesn't have all these tiers. Brock has to reach to get to us. Yeah, like what's up with that? Like what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we doing this to him? This team is 8-3. They have a chance to win their division next week if things go according to plan. Okay? So that's step 1 towards the championship. Step 2, if you're going to go based on statistics and all these other things, Brock is pretty much at the top of every statistical category right now, probably other than like touchdowns and yards in the National Football League. He's playing as well as we could possibly have somebody play. And yet we're sitting here and we're picking through his game because some people say he's elite. So because some people say he's elite, we're going to shit all over his game. I just don't understand that mindset. If we're fans of the same team, it doesn't mean that you have to be a blind follower and just like a team and not have any criticisms of them, because I criticize the 49ers a lot, but I don't feel like quarterback is something we have to really be worried about right now.
It's almost like he has to be perfect. and then when he did play perfect, I still heard it. Oh, well, the receivers were wide open and he plays in a great scheme and he has the best weapons. It's like, okay. It's like you keep pushing the goalpost. Like I'm not trying to get into these debates anymore.
And CJ, I agree. He hasn't played enough, but you can't make it. It's one way or the other. And we do. And you're right. We have to sit back and wait to see what's going to happen. But going based on his body of work so far, okay, he's not a bad quarterback. He doesn't suck. He doesn't hold us back. He is efficient with the ball. He gets the ball where it needs to be. The playmakers are playing at an absolute ridiculous level ever since he's took over. And if that's people say what the 49ers offense, what the back essentially needs to do is just get the ball to the playmakers and facilitate like in basketball and get out of the way. Is he not doing that? Like, what else do you want from him? You're like, well, he's got to win a Super Bowl. So does the rest of this team. So does the rest of these guys. All the rest of these guys should be held accountable too, not just Brock. Offensive line, defense, all these guys that are high priced and paid a ton of money. How come they're not being held to the same level of accountability? If you're going to be like that, be fair.
Dude, for what he's getting paid, he's doing above and beyond what he's supposed to be doing. Let's just put it that way.
Jess says, if you know football, he's grown since last season. Absolutely. Listen, I was worried coming into this year, and so was Bash. We didn't know. His arm was a question. Bash, can we say with pretty much without a doubt that his arm looks as good, if not better, than last year?
So he never had a strong arm to begin with. He got a UCL tear, had that surgery. Only like two other guys had that surgery in the NFL. It was a major question mark what the recovery time was going to be, what he was going to look like when he did come back. Came back way early, came back throwing the ball even. His arm looks stronger now to me, if you ask me. And he just improved certain facets of his game. So, I mean, what more could you ask for from the guy? I don't get it.
See, CJ, I like you can be not critical, but you can want more from somebody, but also give credit where it's due. He says, yeah, Brock is good enough for us to win. I don't go into games worrying about him. We all worried about Jimmy all the time. it's amazing how much Kyle did for that guy's career. And now with Kyle not there and all those playmakers around him, how mortal he looks. He's not even playing anymore. He's essentially a backup quarterback. So, Raphael 562 says, "Let's enjoy the Purdy ride." Exactly. Enjoy it. Stop trying to poke holes in it. It's such cheese, dude. Like, if you want to go back in time and do some revisionist history, people always talk about Troy Aikman being this Hall of Fame quarterback. He had the most pedestrian ass numbers I've ever seen in my life.
Pull up his stat lines; they were pretty normal. Yeah,
Troy Aikman was essentially what you call a game manager. Now, could he throw the ball and make big throws and had talent? Yes. But like, if we're gonna do that, like you could pick his ass apart and say that he wasn't that great of a quarterback too, you know. But we don't think about that because he's got some Super Bowls that he was pretty much given to by the fact that he had Emmitt Smith in a giant offensive line in front of him. So people pick and choose what they want to believe.
yes, sir. Yeah, let's enjoy the ride. I mean, hey, all I wanted was an improvement from Jimmy G, and we're getting much more than an improvement from Jimmy G. We're getting like a significant improvement and a guy who could possibly be our guy for the next 10 years, perhaps, if everything plays out properly. So I'm not worried about how many weapons he has and how he's going to look when all those weapons are gone. I'm really not worried about that. This team drafts very well to begin with. We do a pretty damn good job of reloading, and I'm ready for it. Let's do this, man. We got another prediction in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, I see that 35-21. Here, let's talk about that. I have a really weird feeling for tomorrow. Like, I'm nervous too, like you, but I have like this weird underlying confidence that the Niners might come out tomorrow and play a really good game and win. Not like kick their ass or anything, but like come out of that game and be like, wow, that was a pretty damn complete win. Whether it's the defense, whether Brock makes a couple big throws, like I'm still nervous just because they're going into Philly, and I think it's weird that Philly gets all these home games all the time. But I had this weird confidence going into this game that the Niners just might pull it out, and we're going to be like shocked how good they play. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be a close game, but then again, I'd say 60-40 close game, 40% perhaps. It could be a game where the Niners are putting up a lot of those 30 numbered points that we've been seeing throughout the regular season, 14-point wins, 17-point wins, whatever. It could play out that way too. You never know. But I do respect Philly's front four very, very much. So they're our front five pass rush. That is, it's just fierce. And we saw it last year. They're not registering the same amount of sack numbers as they did last year. Last year they were approaching the Chicago Bears all-time record, but they're still a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they had almost 70 sacks last year. Think about that.
They were crazy last year.
No, almost 80 sacks. They had almost 80 sacks because they were in the 70s, I think. That's insane, people.
I'll tell you the number.
All right. Jess says the Eagles are due to get their
70.
asses kicked.
They had 70. The record 72 by the Bears.
Wow.
The Bears.
Had what was it? Ditka versus Tornado.
Yeah.
Ditka.
Ditka. George Ditka. Chicago.
That was the greatest thing. And then Chris Farley would act like he was having a heart attack.
Yeah,
anybody who sat there and watched Saturday Night Live, that was great. Too bad. Rest in peace, Chris Farley. He was great.
They had Michael Jordan on that skit once. I don't know if you remember
he was doing a little dance.
Yeah, the Bears dance. Yeah.
49ers versus a tornado. 49ers.
It might rain tomorrow.
Let's talk about the weather, because some reports say it's going to be bad, and then there's other reports that saying it's going to be the worst of it will be gone by the time we get into the early part of the game, and that essentially it'll just be like drizzle. There's been talk, at least I guess Brock brought it up in a press conference, that he might wear a glove. What's your take? Do you think Brock goes into that game with a glove? Maybe. I don't know.
Like
I'd be more comfortable. What's that?
Like Michael Jackson will have one glove.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we were saying it after that Philly game, right? Because the ball kept flopping out of his hands a couple of times when a super, super wet ball. I'm reading the conditions of what what the rain will possibly look like tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be on that level of Cleveland. I don't think it's going to be a torrential downpour. From what I was reading yesterday, it said something about like, oh, possible rain, possible drizzle during these hours. Um, yeah, I'm just clicking on Sunday's report right now on AccuWeather.com and see if it gives me. I'm reading something about like rain in the afternoon. So cloudy, rain in the morning, followed by spotty drizzle in the afternoon. So we're playing in the afternoon, and I'm trying to see if I could get like an hourly type
Yeah, because
forecast.
I've seen, like I said, I heard I was listening to KNBR, even though I don't really want to support them anymore because they keep firing everybody.
They do.
They're freaking lame asses. I heard that a lot of the rain's going to be gone by the early part of the game, and it might be
Mhm.
very like maybe just like the ground might be a problem as far as traction.
Yeah. So it's
Um,
saying for the afternoon. So we're playing from 4 Philly time, 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. It's saying drizzle, 42% chance of rain. So take it for what it is. I don't think it's gonna be too bad.
Raphael 562 says the 49ers will attempt at least one trick play, either CMC or a diva throw. I hope so. They need to. Niners need to put all the stops. The Eagles are a good team. The Eagles are the best team we faced all year. Um, it's Niners got a tough schedule. I don't think people realize how hard of a schedule the 49ers have this year. You know, playing the Ravens, the Eagles, Cowboys, Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, you name it, the Niners have it. I mean, yeah, the NFC West is down this year. The Niners deserve that. The Niners deserve to have an easy division, Bash. I'm so sick of the West being good. People are like, oh, your
Yeah.
division's horrible. So I don't care. So what?
Yeah. And it's like whenever our division does suck overall, you could kind of say there's always still that one team that's kind of a thorn in our side.
Right.
Laura mentioned something earlier about Dolly Parton really quick. David McNiner, I know you want Dolly Parton to perform at halftime. I thought it was really, I commented back to her, but I'll just say it. I thought it was really dumb and stupid when they had Dolly Parton. I don't know if you caught it. She was dressed up
No.
as a cowboy cheerleader.
I saw it and it looked yeah.
No, she was dressed up as a cowboy cheerleader, right? And she was singing "We Are the Champions" for the Cowboys. Champions of what? Champions of what?
Of overhype, being
Yeah. Oh
overhyped,
yeah. Oh yeah. They're the media
beating
champions.
bad
That's true.
teams. Look, they
Definitely the
faced a
media
decent
champions.
team in Seattle and they almost lost. Their
Mm-hmm.
supposed incredible defense. What happened? Like the week before, we shut them in their own place down. They couldn't stop a freaking cold against the Seattle Seahawks. So I don't know,
Yeah, that,
man.
that makes sense that the Seahawks and the Cowboys played a close game, though. That just shows that they're both on that same level. And we pretty much beat both teams, and we're gonna play Seattle again, actually. So
Jess says we're going back to that Walsh play from Brock to Kittle like last season against Seattle. Fake once, then twice, and then that'd be a good one. He said that they use it once a year, right? So that would be the most perfect time. I think the Eagles are gettable. I mean, their back ends giving up some yards this year. They're like last in the league against tight ends.
yep.
Bash.
Yeah, they
Uh,
give up a 125 passer rating against tight ends. In terms of, they don't have much to speak of in their linebacker department. Their best linebacker may not even play, from what I understand. Yeah, so we should totally take advantage of that. And that's guarding the middle of the field. You could kind of say so. Expect to see CMC do some work in the slot out of the backfield, and get some passes in those similar areas where tight end may get certain passes, and we should exploit that definitely.
uh, Tony Culp is in the house, the better half of Brian Culp of the
Tony has
of
done
the
it again.
cult. People are like, stop calling him
The
that. Why? It
Culp
just sounds
Cult.
cool. Cult. Yes, she's in the house. Thank you so much, Tony, for coming through. Your husband's an awesome guy. Appreciate him. Can't wait to see him and the rest of the guys back on Monday now that I'm feeling better. I missed them, but at the same time, they understood. So uh I think that the Niners have all the necessary resources and weapons and scheme and everything they need to beat this Eagles team, and it's on them to do it. We're not bereft of talent. We have incredible coaching. It's really like a lot of us said, it's put up or shut up time. That's where the Niners are at right now. They talked a lot after that NFC Championship game. We did. People could say, well, we got screwed and this, that, and the other, and so got hurt, but we talked a lot. They won, we didn't. As long as you
it speaks for itself, though. I mean, like, what else did we really have to say much after we lost that game? Everybody
no,
knows we were playing that game. I mean, 98% of that game we didn't have a quarterback. So
we didn't have a quarterback in the NFC Championship game. We have to really make sure that people realize. I had somebody say, "Well, that's an excuse." No, it's not. It's a fact. We literally didn't have a quarterback. You can't win an NFL game without a quarterback, people. This isn't rugby. But at the same time, they won, we lost. And a lot of stuff was said. And then, like I said, the Niners put unnecessary pressure on themselves with the Eagles already being as good as they are, but they have a chance. We'll get a good sense, I think, tomorrow, Bash, early on in that game, what kind of game it's going to be. That crowd's going to be hyped. That team's going to be hyped. The Niners got to survive that initial push in the beginning that all teams have, and the tush push. Let's talk about that. Is there like anything you could actually do to stop that? I said running cleat first over the pile, just running, doing like the transporter when you ring the doorbell and then he just kick slides the door in. You got to do something like that.
I don't know what they're doing, man. I say, I don't know. I wish this team had. I've said this multiple times. You've said it. I've said it. I mean, if we could get some big fat Mamma Jamma type D tackles.
Yeah, we don't have any big defensive tackles. Yeah.
I mean, Hargrave is big, but we're talking about like 330, 340 pounds type nose tackle big.
Right.
Kinlaw was pretty damn big when we first drafted him. Then they had him lose weight because of his knees. But yeah, we don't have that huge, big run stuffer guy. Just that one guy, like you mentioned. I think you mentioned Tony Siragusa from back in the day, like even Michael Carter back in the day. Like we used to have at least one guy like that, and we don't. And I get it. Their scheme has more athletic style type D tackles, and I understand that. But in those tush push type situations, you need that huge plugger. I mean, I don't know if they could maybe put in Alfredo Gutierrez from the practice squad on the offensive line and just throw him in there when they try to run that tush push because the guy is so damn big. I don't know, somebody. I wish we had a bigger player, but I don't know what they're going to do because Philadelphia Eagles do that stupid crab block where they get on all fours and sweep their legs to do that block, and it works. And I hear other teams try it and it doesn't work. I heard Minnesota tried it against us once. I didn't realize it, but Minnesota tried it against us and it didn't work. But Eagles are really good at it. We got to stop it at least once, I think, though.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Let's not put ourselves in position to have that particular play affect us in a negative way where we're getting pissed off and it's affecting us in the game. 49ers got to get themselves and put themselves in better positions. You know, like I said, they have the talent to do it, and it's just a matter of performing. That tush push crap and the referees on top of it are two of the things that really have me concerned for tomorrow. Mainly the refs. It's known that the refs like to throw the towel around when the Eagles play, and it's mostly within the Eagles' favor. And that's the one thing I'm worried about. That's why I think the Niners, if they have to do anything tomorrow, they have to kind of leave no doubt on the field who the better team is or players. They can't leave it up to being a close game late, because I think if you do that, you're giving yourself up to the possibility of letting one of those idiots decide it for you with a bullshit call that's going to, turn the game around. So my nephew's always said it the best. He's like, if you put yourself in a position to depend on the referees by not playing well, then it's your own fault, because they're going to make mistakes and they're going to be flawed. And in some cases, maybe they're going to be trying to, I don't know, make some money on the in Vegas with some of these calls that are so blatantly missed or calls that are blatantly one-sided. What about you?
I mean, I don't want this game to come to be any type of close game where the referees are a factor, or whether it has to decide on a Jake Moody kick. And I'm thinking it's going to be a close game, but I'm hoping it's going to be a close game where it's not down to like the kick at the very, very end, where we just have a small sizable lead at the end. And hopefully we don't have to worry about all that, the refs and all that other crap. And, throughout the season, the 49ers team has been undisciplined. It's been pissing me off, actually. We've been looking like the Raiders, even though we have a much better record and we're a much better team. But the Raiders historically have been really bad and undisciplined when it comes to penalties. And we were doing the same. We were doing a whole lot of that. Now, last week in Seattle, we only registered 3 penalties, which was cool. We had less penalties than the Seahawks did, and hopefully we can replicate that this week.
Yeah, the Niners need to be. The Niners need to play a complete game, offense, defense. They like you said, the penalties have to be low. You can't go into this game and have 10 plus penalties. They're not winning. It's hard enough to defeat an opponent based on just matchups and skill and coaching. You add undisciplined football, penalties, turnovers, butthead plays, just stupidity. You know, it's next to impossible. The one thing I will say about this game, Bash, that I was listening to KNBR and they said something. They said, regardless of the outcome of this game, it's not necessarily do or die because it's pretty much not a known fact, but it's pretty much understood that these teams might meet again in late January. And that game is the most important game. So it's this weird like dichotomy of like, yeah, the Niners win this game and everything, and that's awesome, right? But the way the NFC looks, they might face them again. Which game would you rather have? Most people would say both, right? But like that's that thing. It's in the back of my head. Like, if we play this game and we lose close, then it'll give me confidence that we can go in there in the conference championship game and beat them because it's happened before, right? Can't win a game. We can't beat the Rams. Can't beat the Rams, or the Rams can't beat us, and then they beat us in the conference championship game. So I don't know how
True.
you feel
There's
about
that factor. I understand that. Yeah. Maybe somewhere down the road, maybe if we do lose to them, we get lucky, and somewhere down the road, Philly goes onto some weird losing streak of some sort, a tiny one, and then it's enough for us to get home field advantage. And then we play them again. We play them at Levi's. I mean, just throwing that out there. It's a possibility. Not saying it's going to happen, but yeah, I mean, sure, we could possibly beat them twice, but hey, we could possibly lose this game in a close one, or maybe down by 2 touchdowns and still lose, but then possibly beat them in the playoffs. You never know how's it's going to play out. None of us know actually, but both these teams are really, really good. They're both have really strong defensive lines. A lot of both have pretty damn good wide receivers. We obviously
yeah.
have the better tight end. They have a really, really fast running back, DeAndre Swift, that does worry me a bit.
They
He's not as
they
good as
have the
CMC.
cushiest they have the cushiest set of skill players outside of the 49ers too.
I know, right? Just imagine if Brock Purdy played on the Raiders, how he'd do. Because he's got the cushiest job in the NFL.
Oh, if you played on the Eagles?
No, I said the Raiders. I said she's a little joke.
Oh, he'd be horrible. He'd throw interceptions every left.
Actually, shout out to Purdy, man. For somebody that, by the way, so out of all the starting quarterbacks in the NFL, Brock Purdy has the least throwing attempts out of all the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. But yeah, it almost sounds like the but people. You can mention the but guys if you want. Purdy still puts up 260 yards per game. He's still, and which is 8th in the league in passing yards right now. So that's pretty damn good. 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 112.3 quarterback rating. So first in the NFL, and hopefully he keeps it up because we're going to need him big time. We're going to need him big time in this Philly game.
Let's just say one thing. I'm here in solidarity of my quarterback. So with that being said, I'm turning my hat backwards because Colin Cowherd's an idiot. He says that elite quarterbacks wear their hats forward, and Brock Purdy's not elite because he wears his hat backwards. I'm not an elite YouTuber, so I guess I should wear my hat backwards too.
Yeah, I think the production team for his show called in sick that day and didn't have enough topics, so he just threw that in there out of desperation and thought it was going to be good, and it ended up being stupid. And it's funny because on Instagram there was some video. They showed the video, right? Then if you click on the next picture, it shows like all these different elite NFL quarterbacks with their hats turned back in press conferences. So, go figure.
Guy's such a clown. That man is still mad because his daughter got used and abused by Trey Lance.
Yeah, so he just hates kind of hates the 49ers in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, he's kind of like when you listen to Chris Collinsworth. Anytime there's a game where the Niners are playing, and Chris Collinsworth will just ooh ah and like drool all over whoever the other team's players are because he's still pissed that the Niners, Joe Montana beat him twice in the Super Bowl. Tell my brother every time I watch a Sunday night game. CJ Gray says, I do nothing but wear my hat backwards. It depends. Usually up until a couple years ago, I always wore them like this. But because I wear so many fitteds and I like the design of the front, started kind of switching it up. So
for me, it only looks good. Maybe I'm wrong, but it only looks good when somebody has his hat turned back when they wear the snapback. I just think it looks a little bit better when they turn around. It's a snapback, but
I have a big head, so this kind of covers up everything.
Yeah. I did it yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't like the way it looks when I turn it around backwards. It looks better when it's on the front.
CJ Gray says, "Oh, you want to put that back up?" The offense is designed to run and make big plays on the passing game. Finally, isn't that weird though? Like we finally have a team that is like, we were so run heavy back in the day, and we had no ability to really push the ball down the field. And now it's, you would think with the guy who has the weak arm and the inability to throw the ball downfield that would be a big problem. And it's actually, he's been the most efficient and the best at it.
Yeah, Chad Johnson had a really good video. I don't know if you want me to pull it up on Twitter and play the video for you, but
Sure.
if I can find it, give me a few minute or so. I got to find this video where he speaks up about the 49ers and the offense, and just because a lot of like things that are different in terms of the past 49er teams when we used to have, Jimmy G running this offense. And sure, a lot of people gave Jimmy a whole lot of credit. Oh, well, look at his record. He won all these games. And I understand that we won games when Jimmy G was the quarterback, but it's way different with Purdy in the mix. You actually can scare teams a bit now. We're putting up more points, offense is more efficient.
CJ Gray,
it's a lot more fun.
I'm not the only one who's thought that. I'm glad you put that. He says this offense looks better than the 2016 Atlanta offense. I've said that before.
I think so. Okay. Wow.
Even like, I don't know about that. I mean, they could throw the ball downfield, but dude, the Niners can smash you from so many different places. Christian McCaffrey and Debo when he's in there, Kittle. The biggest thing with this team really is health. I really think the 49ers can find a way to win against any team if they just stay healthy. They just have to find a way to keep guys on the field. That the only problem I have with this 49er team is they play such a physical brand of football that it just, playing 17 games regular season in a playoff run is just almost impossible. But they got to find a way to do it. The best teams are the most healthy at the end of the year, not in mid-season. So CJ Gray says, I've been calling out Jimmy even when he was winning. I'm glad he's gone. Me too. I was just never comfortable with him.
He just made us all nervous. And people said I was a hater. You're a Jimmy G hater. You're not a real Niner fan. Look, I love the 49ers. I support any quarterback we have. But when the team is really, really stacked and it's like what's the word? I can't even think of the word of the phrase, but it's like the team's just carrying him. You know what I mean? The whole team's just carrying him.
It's like osmosis. He wins by us. And just because he's mixed in with all those other guys, he's able to play well.
I found that video, so I'm going to go ahead and
go ahead and play it
on the screen. I've been looking for it the past minute. I finally found it, courtesy of Wayne Breezy's TikTok. Shout out to Breezy. She's faithful to the Bay, and here we go. Do we have it full screen yet? Let me just double check. And hang on, I think I got to hit the full screen thingy. Okay, it's kind of weird because you got that little layout, but there you go. You can see Chad Johnson, and I'm going to press play.
The 49ers team collectively is almost unfair when everybody is healthy. Debo, Ayuk, Trent Williams. Then on defense, that secondary, Travis Ward, everything else they got going on, they had everybody in goddamn clamps. And it's to me, in comparison, for me, I'm not even a basketball fan, but I remember hearing all the gripes about people. Let's say comparison to the Golden State Warriors when they had Kevin Durant, where it was almost fair obviously now from an offensive standpoint, but also the defense is just as good. So when you think about the 49ers, for me specifically, when I think about the 49ers, every team in the NFL has an identity. Either your offense is great or your defense is great. It's never both. But when it comes to the goddamn 49ers, on both sides of the ball, they are equally as yoked, and it's almost unfair. If they don't win the Super Bowl this year, then something is wrong. The 49ers team.
So shout out to Chad Johnson, and that was a video that was posted on Wayne Breezy's TikTok. He's faithful to the Bay. Shout out to Wayne Breezy. There you go.
Hello, Red Jet. Glad to see you. Right in time, my voice starts to go as Red Jet comes in here.
That's the effects of COVID. It's the COVID effect.
Every single time. She's all like, oh my God, his voice. I'm like, I don't know why it does that every single time.
I sound like I got a frog in my throat.
I already have a froggy voice. I do not need a frog in my throat. Yeah, the Niners are loaded. That's the part that if they don't win this year, like he said, they just have so much talent everywhere. It's almost not fair. But I don't know, man.
It's not fair.
They just need to stay healthy. And dude, they got to that Eagles. If they beat the Eagles tomorrow, that would I think that would kind of show me that maybe they are a team of destiny this year. I don't know. I don't believe in destiny. I believe in life and everything is what you make it. I don't think anything's predetermined, but they're just the Niners when they have it all going on. It's like an all-star team essentially, if you think about it. Every level of their team, no matter what level you're talking about, even the secondary has an elite level player somewhere in it. You know what I mean? Offensive line, we got Trent Williams. We got an all-star running back, all-star tight end, two really good receivers, two really good middle linebackers, an elite defensive line. It's the two things that really scare me about the Niners team though is the special teams is pretty porous at times, and like you said before, the penalties. It's the Niners beat themselves. So,
well, Coach Shanahan has the cushiest coaching job in the NFL, right?
Yeah. The Niners,
all the All-Stars.
The Niners have the cushiest coaching job. The Niners have the cushiest set of weapons. If I could run that offense, guys.
There you go.
I could
See
run
you
that
out there playing
offense.
quarterback.
That's just hard. But why is it a crime if you're successful and you have a lot of good players? Why is that all of a sudden a crime against the quarterback? You know what I mean? Like, why is that the quarterback's fault that you have really good players? And everyone's like, oh, he played well. He played bad against when Debo was in the lineup and Trent Williams wasn't in the lineup. I don't know. Your starting left tackle isn't in the lineup against most teams. It's going to cause some problems. And Debo, I don't know. It's. I thought he played well mostly in all those games. Brock Purdy. He had turnovers at the end.
Block
But
Purdy.
how much is that? Brock Purdy. Yeah, how much is that was related to his him smacking his head though too? So
yeah, I mean, against the Bengals, he threw
can we
350 yards.
Stop? Yeah. Can we stop like trying to come up with an answer to what a player is this early on in his career? Like, stop trying to figure it all out. This man hasn't even played 2 full seasons, and we're already sitting here where you have people saying he's elite, and then you have other people saying he's just a product of the system. Maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know.
I'll tell you what he doesn't have. That's a cushiest thing in the league is his pass protection.
Yeah.
He's constantly completing passes in stride with really, really good accuracy, on time, you name it, all three. I mean, with guys hitting him half the time, guys in his face all half the time. I mean, imagine him throwing behind the Eagles' offensive line. I mean, he'd be putting up way better numbers. I mean, he's already putting up pretty damn good numbers already. Like we said, he's top of the league in most of the stats that matter. So, I mean, again, he's just doing everything right. I'm sure he lost 3 games in a row. I understand, but from playing last year till now, what more could you ask for? I mean, nobody's ever going to be perfect.
I can't believe we're even doing this though. By saying we lost 3 games in a row. Everybody in the NFL loses. Even the greatest players in league history lose. Are we that much of like a nitpicking fan base that we're going to sit there and judge this guy on every single game? Like, that's ridiculous. To me, it just sounds like someone who doesn't really love the team and they just want to find a reason to put out content where they just bitch and complain about everything. That's what it seems like to me. And I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm talking about anybody who has this thing where they have to always define players based on every single game or a couple games. How about define players after a couple, 2, 3 seasons? Like, we could say for sure that the quarterback of the Chargers, Herbert, really talented guy. He's not clutch. It's been proven over time.
Same with Josh Allen. They're almost the same player. It's just that Josh Herbert doesn't run a lot.
Right.
And Josh Allen, Herbert doesn't run a lot, but Josh Allen does.
Mahomes, we can say because of time, he's the best quarterback in the NFL when he's playing at his best. Like, he's a Super Bowl champion. But it had to give him time. Like, he couldn't beat with that first year they were in the championship game. They lost to the New England Patriots, and a lot of people were saying this, that, and the other. And a lot of people made comments about Andy Reid for all the longest time, and then he finally got in a team that had a good quarterback, and now look at him, right? Stop trying to write the story and have like an official like thing on somebody after such a small bit of information. Like, let things play out.
And yeah, I totally agree. You mentioned special teams earlier. I wanted to talk about special teams really quick before we head out here.
Yep.
I kind of got to be out of here pretty soon, but we'll stick around for a little bit. No big deal. Mitch Wisnowski, I got 99 problems, but a Mitch ain't one. He's punting the living daylights out of the ball. I mean, they call it the banana spin. I call it the helicopter spin, or whatever you want to call it. It's making it very difficult for punt returners to field his punts or return his punts. That is, so the punt coverage team and the punting is A+. I love it. So that makes another thing cushy for Shanahan and Brock Purdy's 49ers. But I would love to see an improvement in the damn kickoff return coverage. When we're kicking off the ball and the other team's returning the ball, there's times where we have some scary moments when the other team returns the ball and kickoff coverage. So we lost Odom.
Yeah, that was the thing. They supposedly solved that problem by giving us Moody, right? Like he can take care of kickoffs.
Yeah, he can kick it up to the end zone.
And now all of a sudden we can't make it to the end zone and guys are returning it to like the 45-yard line. Like, I don't understand what the problem is with anybody who kicks for the 49ers seems to have this insatiable need to kick off line drive kickoffs that have no hang time. Like, what's the problem? I don't understand. We need to fix that.
Supposedly he has the ability with a really, really strong leg to kick it to the back of the end zone, and we're not seeing it as consistently as we'd like to. I totally 100% agree with that. So
someone needs to walk up to that guy in the locker room, slap him around a little bit, tell him to get it together.
We'll say Greenlaw. I think Greenlaw can take care of him, or Trent Williams, one of those two.
I'll take care of it, man. I'm bigger than our.
What if we put Jake Moody? What if we put Jake Moody in front of the butt box line, and have him come out with Debo and Trent Williams and start dancing like who was it? Chase Young was doing the gritty or something like that. Have Jake Moody do the gritty before the game to boost his confidence. Shout out to Brian Cope. I believe you visited Corey Davis, if I'm not mistaken. He said, yeah, so we appreciate you, man. Well, we gave a big shout out to Corey Davis at the start of the show. And just remind everybody, say your prayers for Corey Davis if you're just jumping in.
Definitely.
Thank you, Don. We appreciate that.
Yeah, take time to think about him and take time to pray for the guy that he can somehow make it out of this health scare with his life, and he can continue to be a 49ers fan and rejoice in what greatness that is, and just life in general. Kind of makes us when we talk about football, you realize it's just a game, as much as we're passionate about it and how we get crazy and get all pissed off when things happen. At the end of the day, it's just a game. It doesn't affect our life one way or the other. So
true. It's entertainment, but life is more important than entertainment. We get that. Really quick, I was go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to talk about the special teams, but if you get something to say,
keep going. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, the special teams, another big concern for me is Ray McLeod.
Yeah.
Ray. I mean, somebody typed up on one of the streams I did, like, oh, I want to see Ray McLeod score a touchdown. I'm like, that'd be all fine and dandy, but like, can we at least just get a 10-yard return from Ray, a 12-yard return, something? Like, it's always Ray McLeod shifting back and forth, and then he gets like 2 yards, and that's it.
Red Jet says, life is too short. Let's enjoy the moment right now. We all have so much, including our illustrious fan base. Right. Live in the moment, people. No, stop living for any other time but the moment we live in. And just the importance of family and friends is more than you realize. And like I said, sports is great. Sports is a great way to come together with family and friends. And I think a lot of what a lot of us do as 49er fans, more than anything, is I've gotten to meet a lot of people on YouTube. A lot of, I would say, the content creators, they're kind of within the same quote unquote realm that aren't big names. A lot of, like, I would say, the meat and potatoes of the Niners content creating people. A lot of them I've gotten to know, and they're all really awesome individuals. And I would have never met any of you guys or gals without the fan base. I never thought in a million years going on YouTube and talking about the 49ers would have allowed me to have such cool relationships with people. One of these days, I'm going to hit the West Coast, and let's hope that Corey will be there and we could all meet up and we can talk Niners and stuff. I would love to meet Bash one of these days. Laura, Bryant, all of you. So
Likewise, it would be a lot of fun. I totally think that would be cool. Yeah, the 49er content creator community is great. The chatters are great. The Niner Empire in general is just great. We have an excellent fan base, and for the most part, we are pretty classy. Every now and then, there may be a bad apple or so at a game or whatever. But we're angels compared to that Philly fan base. And speaking of that Philly fan base, many people say this guy is the embodiment of Philadelphia, and I mean that in their head coach Nick Sirianni. What do you think of that guy?
Nick Sirianni is very Italian, like myself, or at least I'm half Sicilian. He is all of a pompous American Italian as you can possibly be. A lot of American Italians, including one of my uncles, who's straight up like Nick, like that's just who they are. They're cocky, smug son of bitches. That's just, I mean, I have more family that's from the actual boot and around it. But I don't know. He definitely embodies that. New York, Philadelphia, Boston, American Italian. Just super arrogant, not humble at all, big mouth. Yeah, passionate.
Yeah, he's definitely. Yeah, there's a whole lot more you can say about him too, but I think we're gonna keep it rated PG. So yeah, I don't think highly of the guy.
Head coach has a face that is very punchable. Yeah,
he does.
I don't
think it's a very punchable face.
Him and coach of the Seahawks. So I'm still waiting for an
Pete
errant
Carroll,
pass.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for an errant pass to smash that dude right in the side of the head. It's never happened. Someone needs to chuck a ball out of bounds and just whack that dude right in the freaking dome piece. But we got to keep it PG on here, so I don't want to wish too much violence on it.
It's rated PG. Lima, what's this guy? I think he's new. I think he's a newcomer to your channel. Lima 6.
Yeah, welcome to the channel, Lima. I think we both keep clicking on the same one. He says I can't stand their coach. Yeah.
He's really annoying.
He's pretty insufferable, but yeah, Lima, I've never seen you in here before, so thank you for coming through, man. Lima 685, appreciate it.
We got to find a way to humble him. That's for sure. We got to find a way to humble Nick Sirianni.
Laura says she looks forward to meeting me when I come out there one of these days. I had a dream that I went to Florida first. I have friends in Florida too. Actually, like when I got on a plane in my dream and went somewhere. So if it's starting in my dreams, then maybe it'll make its way into real life. First time on here. I appreciate you coming through. We're about to get out of here, actually. Bash has to get going, but real quick, a little score prediction for the game tomorrow. I know you've already done it on other channels, but
yeah, definitely do it on here as well. I'm keeping it consistent. Didn't change it up or anything. So we're playing a very, very tough team. It's going to be our toughest test through the season, as Grant Cohn said many times. And 25-19 is my score prediction. Niners win in Philly. It's not the rain isn't going to be too much of a factor. Brock Purdy's just going to be fired up to play this game since he didn't really get to play the last game, and our defense is on point. Our playmakers are ready, and I'm ready for this game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to go 49ers 24, Eagles 20. Niners go up early, like I've said before, and then the Eagles make a late push, but we do enough to stop them. I think it's going to be a really difficult game. I think the Niners, might have some turnovers and some penalties, and they're going to have to find a way to get through it. So, Raphael 562 says 28-23. Lima says nice show. Thank you, Lima. I appreciate it. John LaJoy says Niners 35, Eagles 17. Lima says 40-13. CJ Gray is kind of close with me, not close with me, but close to what my score is a little bit, 24-17. So, I mean, hey, do I think the Niners have a chance of losing this game tomorrow? Yes. Do I think they have a really good chance at winning this game tomorrow if they play really well? Because they got enough ammunition in the gun, right? You know what I mean? They're not bereft of talent, coaching, any of that stuff. So, hopefully, I'll see some of you guys on Monday on the Niners Coast to Coast show. I'll be back with Brian Culp, David McNiner, and Ty Elston. What do you got going on this week, Bash?
So on the 49er Minded YouTube channel, there should be a post-game show tomorrow. Last week I didn't do it on the same day, but I'm going to try to knock out a post-game show tomorrow. So the game ends, let's say, should end around 4:30 or so. So maybe around 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'll be going live to do a post-game show on the 49er Minded YouTube channel. If you want to join me, Aaron, you are welcome.
I might.
And yeah, let's hopefully we win this game. It should be a lot of fun.
And as Raphael 562 said, let's cook another bird. Yeah, let's do it, man. Again, appreciate everybody coming through. Give your support to Corey Davis and his family. If you don't know already, he's dealing with pretty significant sickness. I don't want to personally go into what it is, but he's struggling. So we need all the help we can get, and prayers for him more than anything to do with football. So everybody have a great rest of your evening. I might jump on with Bash tomorrow. If not, we'll see you guys Monday. I have a couple other streams on during the week. Everybody have a great rest of your evening. And on the West Coast, it's like 3:00 in the afternoon. So have a great rest of your afternoon, and go Niners. See you, everyone.
Good night. See you guys. Peace. Beat Philadelphia.